not be seen for a few months. Before I came, I asked Rob and Emma what sort of poems I should do, and they said, keep it light. We want it to be a celebration. Sex is good, well, I knew that. But would you do clownfish? Well, clownfish is a sad poem. So you're going to have a bit of a mixture tonight, but not too serious. I was at a very serious poetry reading earlier this year, and listening to a guy doing a poem called A Medieval Monk Has Doubts, and it was very, very boring. So I thought I'd use this time profitably, and I drifted off and wrote this poem. In the lives of many young businessmen, there comes a defining moment when they see they've missed out on the spiritual things. Zen, Buddhism, a care for ecology, a thought for the poor, an interest in psychology, except where it's used in advertising to increase profits. That Feng Shui has vanished from their office, and Tai Chi, wave them goodbye. Worse still, that every utterance they make from every orifice is censored, guarded, massaged, turned into a lie. Even their farts are hushed and made dumb by a careful positioning of the bum. This moment came for James, our hero. Suddenly, his life seemed black, its meaning down to zero, as measured by the formula he entered on his spreadsheet. He lay awake at night, restless, messing up his bed sheets, till one day, in front of the BDU, pondering doing a bunk, he saw an enlightening flash. He'd save his soul by becoming a monk. Actually, the flash was a computer virus seen on other screens as well, but we have a story to tell. So, he entered the local monastery, took his novitiate's vows, stuck almost to silence, prayed at very odd hours, but celibacy proved a terrible strain, a very real and physical pain. Each night when the lights went down, he started to frown, his heart beat faster. He really wanted to master himself. He needed a woman. He wanted sex and rompy, bumpy, or hanky-panky. He'd settle at least for a wank. He was desperate, but even this was forbidden. And with the new openness in his heart, his concerns could not stay hidden. So he spoke to the abbot, Father Marcus, a white-haired, wise old man who knew the answers to everything, as only teenagers and wise old men can. And said, Father, these solemn vows that we take, that we must not break, do they come from a reputable source? I mean, is there a proper business case that considers the stresses of this workplace and the strain on the human resource? Are there standards and procedures for a life following Jesus? Oh, said the abbot. There are rules dictating everything we do. They say our habits must be grey, though it makes our libidos blue. Or should that be our brown eyes? He fancied himself as a poet, Marcus, and no one dare criticise. They were laid down by the original monks in days of yesteryear. Oh, said James, a mission statement. That makes things more clear. Well, they must be written down somewhere. Can I see them? Are they here? He was shown the big book in the library with the rules writ black and bold. But these pages aren't musty and dusty. These pages are never old, he exclaimed. And the father explained that to keep the laws fresh in the mind, they were copied each year from the previous book. Well, can't we find the original, said James? How can you be sure that these are right if they're copied out by frustrated monks in the dimness of candlelight? The abbot said he would think on this, and James returned to his cell, but 2 nights later he couldn't sleep, his urges giving him hell, and he heard strange sounds from the library, Father Marcus's spiritual home. And he saw the old man sitting, shoulders shaking, hunched over a tome with dust and cobwebs adorning every faded browning page. Was he laughing? Was he crying? Was he in a holy rage? At last the abbot spoke, in tones both sorrowful and irate. Oh, James, my son, he cried. The word here is celebrate. Thank you. We were married on the 2nd of June this year, and 18 days later he died of lung cancer. This was a poem I wrote a few months earlier, which was one of his favourites. It's called Clownfish. If you were a fish, then the kind of fish you'd be is a multicoloured clownfish, the joker of the sea. You'd titillate your audience, throwing buckets of fresh air, and the bravest little sea shrimp would touch you for a dare. You'd prattle over flatfish, have mud pies waved in your face, but you get standing ovations, even from the place. But when the show was over, and the shoal had had their thrills, they wouldn't see the sad, sad look clinging to your gills. For though he may seem happy, he's not how he appears. The clownfish is always crying but the kind sea hides his tears. Thank you. Bad habits, that's really what the next poem's about. It's called 11 Reasons. And I'm sure that many of the women in the audience will recognise some of these things. There are 11 reasons why I'm leaving you today. The first is that you always hang the loo roll the wrong way, with the paper dropping at the back, when everybody knows that it should go at the front. The way you pick your nose when you think that I'm not looking is the next one on the list. And followed close behind it is the fact that when you're pissed, you always miss the loo and never clean it up. But still, the next one's worse than these. It's that you say, I must be oversexed, when of course the truth is really that you can't raise enough enthusiasm. Not even weekly. Not even on the days that I wear the black suspenders. But I could live with this if when I drive the car, you didn't sit there, knuckles white, gasping, ooh and ah. The sixth, well, when I cook a meal, do you always have to pause before we eat and say, this one alone is cause for a divorce after 1,635 occasions. The seventh's not really your fault. You can't help your relation and the way that they compare you all the time with your first wife. Oh, by the way, I now understand why she did what she did with the knife. The eighth one's the remote control. A common enough obsession for a man, but to take it into work each day so you're in your possession, that's extreme. We come to barbecues. I know you like to cook the steak and chicken and kebabs, but do you realise how you look in that apron with the naked woman printed on the front? Anyway, despite all these, I would have liked to see you more. To say, stay at home with me some nights would not have been so bad. And the reason 10 is that you never understood how sad I felt to be so much alone. I suppose these all seem trivial. You are at least a jovial folk, friendly and convivial with everyone, which leads me to 11, and this one's hell. Even though it's only happened once, as far as I can tell. But to stop myself from breaking down, I've left it to the end. The 11th reasons that you spent last night with my best friend. And 12. She's told me everything. You only left out 9 and 10. So you see, I have to go now. I can't hold my head up when 13. Everybody knows what a fool I've been to stay. There are really 13 reasons why I'm leaving you today.